Good virtual morning, everyone. My name is Robert Horton, Vice President of Environmental Affairs at DFW International Airport, and I'm pleased to be here to celebrate your great accomplishments in advancing sustainability across the Dallas-Fort Worth region. The work you are doing responds to the many challenges that we face as a community and as a planet, and I thank you for all that you're doing to demonstrate leadership in this area. On behalf of the airport, I would like to thank the City of Fort Worth for hosting this long-standing event, highlighting some of the most unique and innovative programs across the region. And a special thank you to Mayor Betsy Price for her leadership and commitment to sustainability both at the City of Fort Worth and Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, ensuring the quality of life for future generations and the long-term viability of our community. At DFW, our sustainability strategy is based on the belief that protecting the environment is not only the right thing to do, but also makes good business sense. Our commitment to sustainable and socially responsible business practices remains steadfast, and each year we raise the bar and set our sights on even greater long-standing impacts. As a leader in sustainability, the airport seeks to meet the world's growing travel demands while optimizing the use of natural resources and maintaining operational efficiency. In 2016, DFW became the first North American airport to achieve carbon neutrality, which was important for several reasons. First, it allowed us to globally benchmark our progress over the prior 2 decades of strategic investments in sustainability-related initiatives. Second, it validated the connection between operating more efficiently and lowering our environmental footprint. And finally, it declared to the world that we care about how our business impacts not only our financial bottom line, but also the natural resources and the surrounding communities that we serve. As you well know, humanity is facing unprecedented challenges that at times can feel insurmountable. People like you who care about and focus on these issues are taking the long view in your work, even when you don't receive that immediate gratification for your efforts. Yet, we all know how important today's actions are to leave a better world for the generations to come. Let me paint a picture of what the world might look like in 2050, just 30 years from now. By 2050, the world's population is expected to grow to approximately 10 billion, with approximately 70% living in cities. Closer to home, the U.S. Census Bureau reported earlier this year that between 2010 and 2019, 3 Texas counties experienced the largest gains in population. The Dallas-Fort Worth-Arlington metro area had the largest numeric growth, with its population increasing by approximately 1.2 million. I know we all see the effects of that growth in the competition for physical resources, such as our congested roadways, as well as our natural resources, such as water. We see the droughts that have resulted in conservation efforts, and land, which we're rapidly seeing being converted from natural habitat to developed structures, often without consideration for the ecological services those natural systems provided prior to removal. We at the airport are also evaluating the potential disruptive impacts of extreme weather events. Events such as winds. The tornado in October of 2019 caused EF3 damage in the Dallas suburbs and was listed as the costliest tornado event in Texas history, $1.6 billion. DFW Airport also incurred $17 million of damage in that single weather event. Extreme temperature. The hot Texas summer trend is increasing. We've seen that the average low temperature in the summer has increased by nearly 5 degrees since 1970. Our electric grid is unprepared for the resulting increase in cooling demand, which can cause our grid to become unstable. When the electric grid becomes unstable, we start to see emergency energy alerts and power outages that disrupt operations at our businesses and in our daily lives. ERCOT's all-time peak demand record of 75,000 megawatts was set on August of 2019, also driven by the summer heat. I say that as we're preparing for the other extreme, that is, our winter weather season, where we prepare our campus for the use of potentially harmful de-icing chemicals that are needed to make aircraft and surfaces safe for flying, but must be carefully managed to protect water quality. These increases in heat and humidity, along with diminishing habitat, can allow disease-carrying insects and animals to spread to new locations, increasing the risks of more global pandemics, which I think we all can agree we don't need more of. But enough of the bad news. I know we've spent the past 8 months worrying about our future amidst this pandemic. In my opinion, I don't believe there's a need to despair. We have hope because of people like you all, people who recognize the challenges and are willing to tackle them head on. We're fully aware of the effect we have on our world and are committed to doing better and working hard to improve our communities. Coincidentally, our collective efforts were identified as critical steps way back in 1987 by the UN when sustainable growth was first defined as growth that meets the needs of the present without compromising future generations from meeting their own needs. That led to the subsequent development of the UN Sustainable Development Goals in 2015 that advocated for a cross-functional, cross-jurisdictional global effort to halt the negative trends that we're seeing today. Whether you're working to protect our water resources, improving recycling rates, improving air quality, or just to generally promote sustainable business practices, the work you do is and will make a difference in the life of current and future residents of our community. Our airport is considered a critical asset for the region, not only because of the $37 billion economic impact, but also because of its ability to connect the region to their national and global economic and recreational concerns. In fact, at the onset of the current pandemic, when people were not traveling, the airlines transitioned to shipping medical supplies and PPE. So, why sustainability? Sustainability is rapidly becoming a business imperative that provides a framework to plan, operate, and grow our businesses responsibly. It allows us to conserve water and energy while protecting the environment for the communities. Many of you are familiar with sustainability being described as balancing people, planet, and profit, also referred to as a triple bottom line. At DFW, we've used a slightly modified concept for decision making. We call it EONs. We, in essence, make decisions based on their economic viability, operational efficiency, natural resource protection and conservation, and social responsibility. I'm proud to state that our commitment to sustainability has not only improved our reputation as a responsible organization, but has also proven good for business. If you get a chance, please check out our 2019 ESG report available on our website. We all know that to be effective, you must have a strategy, and ours involves the application of systems thinking where we recognize the connected world we live in. Our EONs approach allows us to apply that systems thinking based on the interactions that we see day to day. And we use that to frame challenges as well as to develop solutions. Because we live in such a complex and intricately connected ecosystem, we work to scientifically connect the dots between our daily behaviors and the positive or negative impacts to our ecosystem. Then we try to decouple the global trends from their negative impacts. I'm proud of the work we've done thus far, and I'd like to share some of those practical examples with you. If you've ever flown through our airport, you know that we have a lot of glass in our terminals, which all provide nice views of the airfield, but also brings in a tremendous amount of light and heat during our hot Texas summers. We noticed that many of the seats near the gate areas would remain unoccupied during hot weather because of the temperature on the seats, which can get to more than 100 degrees Fahrenheit. In response, we successfully tested an exciting new technology called dynamic glass at Terminal A, Gate A28, and several other locations. This glass tints in response to the position of the sun, allowing us to maintain views of the outdoors while reducing glare and energy cost. We also installed in the duty-free area at Terminal D, where the heat from the windows was melting the chocolate. This is a revolutionary new way of managing energy in our buildings, and dynamic glass is now standard in all new construction at DFW. We reduced emissions from our alternative fuel fleet by incorporating renewable natural gas, which is captured from local landfills, into our bus operations. This also reduced our transportation fleet emissions by 80% while lowering annual operating costs by $1 million. We've established a strategic partnership with the Department of Energy and the world-renowned research teams at their National Renewable Energy Lab. With this partnership, we're using data science combined with the supercomputing resources of these labs to enable visualization of data in ways that dramatically enhance our ability to problem solve. For the project we call Athena, NREL modeled our shuttle bus operations that prior to COVID would circumnavigate the globe every 18 hours with an average ridership of less than 20%. They generated more than 21 million combinations of bus sizes and routes. Then they developed optimization strategies, which is based on fluctuating passenger demand. Consumer impacts were also included, and that's measured by ride time and the time between buses. And we also evaluated emissions. Based on their integrated modeling, they revealed several operational strategies that we will test in the future, all of which have the potential to reduce our operational costs and associated emissions by between 20 and 50%. Some of you know that DFW has poor air quality and is non-attainment for ozone. Let's say that in order to fix this problem through our environmental lens, we discovered that most of the pollution comes from on-road vehicles. Then we create policies to convert these vehicles to electric or zero emissions to improve air quality. Of course, we would solve for air quality, but do little or nothing to address congestion or many of the other challenges. This is why our coordinated, integrated ecosystem approach is so critical to the success of our airport, our region, and our world. Between 2010 and 2019, DFW achieved an 83% reduction in carbon emissions on a per passenger basis, as well as a 32% reduction in electricity cost. All this while total passengers increased by 29%. Our purchase of 100% renewable wind energy is being procured at a 30-year low commodity cost. That thanks to the competitive and deregulated energy market in Texas. One doesn't usually think about biodiversity as something that an airport would pay attention to, but DFW's property is larger than the island of Manhattan, and we actually have many natural features across our property that provide ecological services to the region. We've worked diligently to change the way we develop our property, to preserve trees, protect water quality, and balance the needs of wildlife with aircraft safety. We're currently developing a tree conservation plan to regenerate and restore some of those lost ecological services that were historically present. Some of these benefits include reducing the urban heat island effect, improving air quality, stabilizing our soils, filtering water, and many more. According to a 2019 Municipal Solid Waste report from TCEQ, North Texas has approximately 35 years of landfill reserve capacity remaining, and that coupled with a rapidly growing population of 7.7 million. Over the past 5 years, our annual waste to landfill costs at DFW have almost doubled from approximately 1.3 million to 2.5 million. In response to that, we're establishing a circular waste strategy which is intended to convert from the current linear model where raw materials are extracted, used to manufacture goods, which are then sold to us as consumers, and then transported to landfills at the end of their life. We are instead choosing to responsibly source upstream and then find beneficial reuse opportunities downstream. Some of these beneficial reuses include diverting organic food waste from the landfill and sending it instead to local organic farms for feedstock and to natural gardens for compost. Coincidentally, organic waste accounts for approximately 30% of our annual waste volume. Earlier this summer, we gathered and recycled more than 900 pallets, which would otherwise clutter the ramp areas and create safety hazards, and sometimes subsequently sent to the landfill. This strategy will eventually generate revenue sufficient to cover the cost of transporting to the recycling facility. With regard to construction projects, in the past year we've achieved an approximate 99% diversion rate based on weight. We recycled 549,000 tons from landfills and staged for future reuse. This is compared to the annual 32,000 tons of municipal solid waste that we transport to landfills. On October 20th, we were officially named to the 2020 Texan by Nature 20 because of our commitment to elevating conservation as an ethos and practice. Texan by Nature is a nonprofit organization founded by former First Lady Laura Bush. On October 27th, we were notified that we were winners of the 2020 UN Momentum for Change Climate Action Award. So, what's next? Based on our alignment with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, we're establishing 6 aspirational sustainability focus areas. These are areas that we believe are essential to our survival over the next 30 years and to our region. With this as part of our strategic efforts, we will become resilient to the threats that would otherwise consume us. We remain committed to doing this work in spite of the challenges that we face daily, and we look forward to continuing this conversation into the future. I'll just share one of those aspirational goals. In the past August, DFW committed to achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2030, which is 20 years ahead of the global target of 2050. The bulk of our remaining emissions currently come from natural gas that is used to heat our facilities, and then followed by fuel from our transportation fleet. Hopefully, our examples can also inspire you to know that we have the people and the tools to solve many of the complex challenges we experience today. While we're all struggling with maintaining a sense of normality amidst this pandemic, please remember that coordination and cross-functional collaboration should be business imperatives. In addition, having bold leadership and a clear organizational vision are necessary to move the needle. We at DFW are privileged to have the support of our executive board of directors that includes Mayor Price of Fort Worth and Johnson of Dallas, our CEO Sean Donahue, and our entire executive team who strongly support the work that we do. And their teams recognize the importance of working together to achieve our ambitious goals. I remain inspired by the work you've all done and continue to do. The great city of Fort Worth is well positioned for future success with the leadership gathered here today. And with that, I thank you for your efforts and look forward to future partnerships and positive outcomes resulting from our collaborative efforts. Thank you.